when you use the term a personal computer, you're deliberately avoiding the use of the term home computer, aren't you?
Right. We view the home not really as a market yet. We view it more as a location. We sell a lot of personal computers that are used for financial analysis, for education in schools, for running laboratory experiments in universities and in scientific applications. And a lot of these personal computers are used in the home as a location some of the time. But there's not enough specific applications to cost justify spending $1,000 to $3,000 for a personal computer to be used in the home yet. So we don't think the home is quite yet ready either culturally or economically.
Wow. I want you guys for a moment to picture yourself in 1981 when personal computers weren't distributed yet to people, to the masses. And you heard about this through a newspaper, because I'm not even sure that everyone was receiving this piece of video on their TV. Like, I'm not sure where this was broadcasted, but I just want you for a moment to picture yourself as an investor, as a person who looks for visionaries, who understands that you don't have it all, but you have enough change to invest in a person who's got that idea. I want you to picture yourself receiving that information that a 1981's version of Steve Jobs just said there, and trying to explain to someone else what it is that you have invested in, what it is that you read and study on. Imagine that in 1981, trying to explain this to people. You would sound crazy. And that's what happened today to me at the grocery store. I was at the grocery store. I was at Trader Joe's, and I was getting rung up by the dude. And he was kind of asking me, Trader Joe's people, they're friendly. Have you guys ever been to Trader Joe's? And I wasn't trying to open up about the whole crypto and YouTube, right? I don't mind talking to you guys about it. But if he wants to know more, just watch my YouTube. But I ended up telling him, yeah, man, I'm into the world of crypto, man. That's what he kind of asked me, like, what do you do? Something like that. And I invest in crypto, and I talk about crypto. I like learning about crypto. I like learning about the future of finance and what's happening to our world, right? And, I found it difficult to get the message across without him looking at me like I'm crazy. Let's look at someone else that you guys know today that you watching use their product. Give me a moment. Let's look into this guy.
Rapidly as we can.
That's a very cost-intense proposition.
Not compared to opening an equivalent network of retail stores. So if you open a bunch of chain stores, look, when we open a distribution center, we're opening places that may have where we may pay 30 cents a square foot for a lease, instead of paying $7 a square foot, which you might pay in a high traffic retail area. So when you compare those things, they're not the same. You can't compare a big chain of retail stores to half a dozen distribution centers. It's just not, it's bad math.
Well, it's an exciting place to be on the web right now.
Oh, it absolutely is. I mean, it's just incredible. What's really incredible about this is that this is day one. This is the very beginning. This is the Kitty Hawk stage of electronic commerce. We're moving forward in so many different areas, and lots of different companies are as well. And the late 20th century is just a great time to be alive. We're going to find out that I think a millennia from now, people are going to look back and say, wow, the late 20th century was really a great time to be alive on this planet.
I guarantee, don't even argue with me about this, that you guys have used Amazon or Amazon Prime, or someone orders off of Amazon, or you hear Amazon every single day today. We were just listening to the CEO, Jeff Bezos, man. The man was talking about Amazon before. I mean, it's just a vision. That's what I'm trying to bring to this conversation. If you can see someone's vision and understand someone's vision, it takes a lot too. At this point in time in 1999, that's when the time of the recording of that interview, you had to understand what the internet was here to do. So as an investor, there's many different viewpoints that you had to see. You couldn't just listen to this man without understanding what the internet was, what communication was, what the history of communication was, what is what the computers were, who's going to get a computer. There were so many different pieces to this puzzle that you had to understand in order for you to understand his vision. So someone at the grocery store who's busy, you know, tick, 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 putting groceries in my bag for 6 hours a day, I could imagine why you can't see the vision, bro. I can imagine why, because you'd spend more of your time doing that. So you have less time. I mean, really, you got the time. Let's not even go there. You could use your break time, after work time, driving time. You know, man, you got to be a hustler to understand and to want to grow your money. You could find that time. Anyways, especially with the internet now, YouTube, right? Watch videos. Like, you can understand crypto. So you got to be able to see people's vision. That's what investing in crypto is about. You got to be able to go into the crevices that people aren't willing to go in order for you to understand what other people can't understand and what's being brought to the table. Because right now, cryptocurrency, blockchain, AI is here to, at least in Ripple's case, specifically XRP, they're here to facilitate the transfer of wealth, the transfer of value, I mean, right? Brad Gardenhouse says the internet of value. We've never heard those terms. Just like back in the day, nobody was really hearing the internet, interweb, buying things on the internet, you know, making a transaction on the internet. People weren't hearing those things. So you had to really hone in and hit that subscribe button on channels like this just to see other people's viewpoint. Well, YouTube wasn't there back then, but I'm talking about right now. Hit the subscribe button right now. One more I want to show you guys really quick. One more. You guys know this guy. You see the vehicles on the road all the time. We seen the charging stations get created. We can't stop hearing this man's damn name all over the damn news and everywhere else. All right, you guys already know who this is, but you haven't seen the 1998 version of him speak. Watch this.
You know, this industry is so young and we don't really know where it's going, but what do you see as the future of the internet?
I think the internet is the superset of all media. It is the be all and end all of media. One will see print, broadcast, arguably radio, essentially all media folding into the internet. And what the internet amounts to is it's the first two-way communication medium that is intelligent. It allows consumers to choose what they want to see, when they want to see it, and whether that be radio, whether that be print, whether that be television, broadcast. I think it's going to revolutionize all traditional media.
I think it's going to revolutionize all traditional media. Just look at that small sentence right there. Today's world, we're hearing, I think it's going to revolutionize the world of finance, right? Doesn't it kind of sound the same? So and especially for the people who first enter this crypto space, I just want to warn you guys that at first, if you're not confused and your brain doesn't feel like it's knotted, right? All the kind of questions you have, like, but what do you mean they're going to put a cryptocurrency inside of, and then they're going to tokenize certain real world assets? And what do you mean? Like, all those questions are all the questions everyone that entered the crypto space have asked, at least the ones taking it serious. And you should ask those questions, because those questions lead you down the correct rabbit holes that help you understand what is actually happening to our world today. Sorry for all this hand movement. I'm just trying to say, like, today, could you guys tell that the Trader Joe's today, I was a little bit, I didn't feel triggered, but it's just like, oh man, like, you know, I'm doing my best. I'm trying my best to articulate this message. Maybe that's what it was for. Maybe it was a moment for me to try to get better at allowing people or explaining to people what this technology is here to do, what window of our life we're in right now, right? Because we're in a certain window of time where, I mean, just all the ducks are in a row. The electricity came. The computer, the first one came in the 1940s. Steve Jobs, dude, he built on that computer, right? He took it to the next level. He did the personal computer. Then came the internet, right? Then came online commerce, because first internet was just communication, emails. That disrupted that space. And then came social media, where we're sharing pictures with each other. Then came sending money through the Zelle payments and things of this nature, right? And now they're talking about payments, faster payments, internet of value. So where I want to leave you guys off with this video is who I like to listen to today, why I invested in XRP specifically. That was the first ever cryptocurrency that I purchased because I heard this man speak. And when I heard him speak, I was like, when you understand that the world can evolve, because you understand history and you understand that money has evolved throughout time. Exchange of value and how we, transact with each other has been a thing that most of us are too narrow-minded to know and understand that, like, we've only been living with fiat currency for, at the time of recording of this video, it's been about 50 years or so. Before that, money was backed by the USD. I'm sorry, gold was backing the US dollar. And before that, we were living in times before that where, like, the actual coins were the metals. Like, there were gold medals, there were silver coins, right, that you could pay with. And, like, if you want to take it even further back, right, this is like way far back, there was time that salt was a transfer of value in a way people would transact. There was times that these shells, people would transact with these shells. There was times that people would transact with barley. People used to transact with tobacco. People used to transact with just notes, right? There was so many different ways. You guys get the point. You get the point. I'm gonna leave you guys off with David Schwartz, one of the architects of the XRP ledger that Ripple, the company, is using to revolutionize the world of payments. You guys can, I'm doing my best here to allow people to understand, and you're gonna look a little crazy, all right? For the new people, you might look crazy. That's not that bad of a thing. So hope you guys are doing well. I'm gonna leave you with some David Schwartz. Hit the like if you like this type of video. Hit that subscribe button. Welcome to my channel. And for now, enjoy that David Schwartz. I am out.
And our vision is to move money as easily as you send an email. And I think a lot of us thought that Bitcoin was going to do that. If you were here from the early days, we just thought, well, everybody would use Bitcoin and then all of these problems would be solved. But instead, what happened is Bitcoin became yet another silo. And now we have some 1,500 tokens, all of which are silos that don't interoperate. So what we've really done is we solved a different problem and we reinvented the interoperability problem on a larger scale. So we need to solve it. Our mission is to reduce friction from global payments, and that's exactly what I mean by solving that problem, allowing money to move as easily as information moves. What we've seen in the market is that the demands on payments are greater than they've ever been. New corporates, companies like Amazon and Uber, need a seamless global experience to be able to pay people around the world. They need those payments to occur in real time. If you're Uber and someone needs money for milk, you want them to drive for Uber immediately. You want them to have the money for the milk that afternoon, that day, immediately. And you need certainty. Right now, a significant fraction of international payments fail, and it's a tremendously bad user experience, even when the payment succeeds, that you don't know the payment succeeded. So you have to contact the recipient. You find out that the payment went fine or didn't. You have to track it down. We don't have the kind of tracking that we really need to have. And of course, they have to be cost effective. If we're going to have micropayments, we're going to pay for web pages, and eliminate advertising and have these new business models where machines pay each other, they have to be cost effective. Payments have to be as easy as pulling up a web page. Today's payment networks don't do any of those things. They're disconnected. They're little islands. There's no connectivity between them except for individual connections that are all different. And that almost makes things even worse. So what Ripple's been building is RippleNet, which is a financial institution payment network. This is sort of an institutional internet of value. Participants in this network tend to be corporations, small banks, payment providers, remittance companies, institutions that handle money. And the network members, the sort of connectors between the networks, are banks and payment providers. And I can almost give the whole talk on this slide because this slide is an internet of value. It's not a public open one. It's an institutional internet of value. Those hubs that you see there are connections between networks. This is not a single network. This is a connection of networks. Banks have their own networks. One of those connectors could connect to Bitcoin or Ethereum or some other cryptocurrency. And we built a product suite that has the pieces for an institutional Internet of Value: xCurrent, xRapid, and xVia. xVia is kind of like the browser for an Internet of Value. It's a way to allow you to initiate global payments with certainty. It's kind of like a way to make requests, but in this case, the requests are payments. xCurrent is kind of like the router for the Internet of Value. It connects networks and provides real-time settlement and bidirectional messaging. And I want to focus on the bidirectional messaging. Bidirectional messaging is something that happens everywhere on the internet. Everything that happens on the internet involves bidirectional messaging. But believe it or not, most international payments are unidirectional. What that means is the money is just sort of pushed out there.